Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, Sean Dumas.
Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you to the premiere episode of The Honorable Warrior on Bravery Within. This is going to be a completely different podcast than what my other three podcasts are. This series is going to be just completely dedicated to the hardworking men out there, and I'm not trying to alienate women or anything like that there. But what I'm trying to do is, men go through so much more than what we're given credit for. We have to put up with so much more than nobody just honestly knows some of the hell that we go through just to try to make it through on a daily basis. This series and stuff here was originally going to be hosted with me and three other co-hosts, two wonderful friends of mine, and my son was going to jump in. We have been trying for 2 months to try to get time to work together, and because it's in the middle of summer, it has just been crazy, and my poor team has tried, and we have tried to come together to find a time to make it work. We just haven't been able to. And I continue to get questions about, certain things that, how have I made it through? People have listened to my other podcasts, and some of the questions that they come up with is, how do I deal with depression? How do I deal with being a single father? How did I make it through after the divorce? There's so many different questions, and it comes down to basically sheer determination, I guess. It depends on, how you look at things, I guess, and how you go about it. So I'm going to lead out with episode 1, and it's called It's Okay to Not Just Get Over It. And if you're a man, I'm sure you probably have heard that at least 2,000 or 3,000 times in your lifetime. I grew up hearing that constantly. It didn't matter what happened to me. I could walk out in the yard and my arm would get chopped off at the shoulder. It's like, rub some dirt on it, walk it off, grow up, be a man. That isn't painful. I was literally brought up that way. You couldn't show any pain. You couldn't show fear. You couldn't show emotion. And still to this day, that is ingrained into my head. It is locked in. And I have done my very, very best to try to, for a lack of better words, reprogram the way I was brought up. Now, there's a lot of good that was brought up, and there's a lot of, I get a lot of that from my mom. She taught me how to be a little bit on the softer side, how to be caring, supportive, be there for people, help when you can. I learned a lot of that from my mom. She kind of taught me the soft side. But as a man growing up, the first thing, I'm sure I wasn't even walking yet, and it was already getting drilled into my head, is don't show pain, don't show fear. Suck it up, buttercup, keep right on and moving. Just get over it. And I got so sick of those 4 words, just get over it. And I didn't even know how to even take it anymore, because it just infuriated me just hearing those words anymore. Contrary to popular disbelief out there, and I'm sure I'm going to get into a lot of trouble from other men and stuff. They're saying, well, that's not me. I'm tough, I'm rugged, I'm powerful, I'm strong. None of this stuff. I don't need any help. I'm not arguing that point, guys. I know for a fact I was raised the exact same way. You don't share anything. You compartmentalize everything. You don't show emotion. You don't show pain. You don't show fear. And to this day, I still live that way. And no matter how much I try to change, it's just almost impossible to change. That's just who I am. I've done a lot of changing over the past couple of years. I admit I've gotten better. I've, mental wise and stuff there. I've talked to people, gotten some help. And no matter what you do, that's always frowned upon. That's always looked at as a weakness as men. And basically, just know, guys, I know you're strong. I know you can hold your own. I know there's very little that bothers you, but contrary to popular disbelief, a lot bothers us. That's just the way it is. We just don't show it. We don't express it. We don't talk about it. We just lock it away, because that's the way we were raised. Now, I'm not saying that every corner of the earth is that way, not in any way, shape, or form, but in the middle of Podunk, where I am at, there's still a lot of old world beliefs that we live by. And I'm not saying that, asking for help and stuff there is weak. For the first part, I want you to know right out of the shotgun, getting help is making you the strongest person that I know, because there's very few, I'll be honest, my friends and stuff there, we do a lot of talking together. We try to help each other out. We don't belittle each other when something bothers us, but we don't poke constantly at that person saying you got to talk, you got to reveal, you got to express everything. We don't do that. But know that there's been so many people that have felt comfortable talking to me that everything that I say is kept in confidence. I mean, I keep it between us, because if you're trusting me enough to open up, then I don't want to betray that trust in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it means the world to me that you're actually coming and talking to me. And sometimes, just so you know, guys out there, we do a lot of joking around between guys. There's no doubt about it. And we do talking on a certain level and for certain ways. And just because you're joking about it doesn't mean you're actually processing the grief. I mean, you could have suffered a loss, but the problem is even when we suffer losses of either our parents or family members or close personal friends, whatever it is, we're not allowed to break down. We're not allowed to show emotion. We're not allowed to do anything. All we're supposed to do is stand there, look like a statue, and basically, oh, yep, this doesn't bother me none there. I guess we'll just move on, because that's exactly what we're supposed to do. And let me tell you, I have been through my fair share of loss. I have been through my fair share of pain and abuse, mental and physical abuse. And I've gotten to a point to where, you just continue to lock it away. You continue to put it in a box someplace in your mind. You close it up, you tape it up, you wrap it in concrete, and you lock it away and you don't process it. Well, the bad part is, over time, that stuff turns into poison. And I couldn't tell you, I had drums and drums and drums of poison in me because I continued to lock it all away. Now, I still lock 95% away that bothers me. I don't really open up too much to anybody. I have some wonderful friends, don't get me wrong. Some of them have been on my podcast, and I can't thank them enough. Those are people that are very near and dear to me, and I would be completely lost without them. And the neat part about it is my son's going to be on an upcoming podcast, which is makes me smile like you have no idea. He's 28 years old. He's an incredible man. I did my very best to try to raise him differently. He's strong. He's tough. There's very little that he can't handle. But contrary to popular disbelief, all us men, we all have a breaking point. There's only so much that we can handle. There's only so much that we can process, we can lock away, we can, whatever it is. We all have different levels of how much that we can hang on to. And for me, I've got 49 years of bent up emotions, locked away, hurt, pain, the loss of both my parents, of a lot of family members, friends. I've lost, I think, 5 friends to suicide. I've been through, like I said, emotional stress and pain and abuse, and physical pain and abuse. And it's just, sooner or later, that all starts to pile up, whether you want to or not. It's kind of like trying to hold the ocean back with a teaspoon. Sooner or later, all that pain and all that hurt starts to get to you. So when you're in a relationship with somebody, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've been in a relationship, and as men, we're expected to be the strong ones. We're expected to be the breadwinners. We're expected to be the providers, the protectors. We're first ones up in the morning, last ones to go to bed at night. We're supposed to be there for, help our kids out with either homework or chores, or teach them the fundamentals, the values that we hold near and dear. Just saying something as simple as saying please and thank you is almost gone anymore. I don't understand what's going on. And you have all this, and then most men work between 40 and 60 hours a week to provide for their families, provide for their kids, to try to give them the best life that they have. And then after all that, we're tore down. We're just basically ridiculed and saying, well, you're not home enough, or you're not doing a good enough job, or, you should be spending more time with your kids, or, your partner. Whatever it is, we start getting tore down. And then those 2 godforsaken words that for some reason are being thrown around anymore of toxic masculinity, it's too much. And this world and culture doesn't understand the pressure that has been put on men, especially in the past 20 years. It's just like somebody like puts your head in a vise and continues to crank and turn and everything else. And it's just like sooner or later, your head's going to explode because it hurts so bad. And it's kind of the way we are. But we're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to do anything about it. There's so many different, if you look at the songs, I mean, let's be honest. If you listen to the music that's out there anymore, everything is tearing men down. Everything is how horrible we are. Now, I'm not saying those songs didn't exist back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Good Lord. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, and there were some pretty good songs in there. But the thing about it is we never tore down our partners. We never tore down the ladies, nowhere near as bad as what we're being tore down today. We're being just shamed, basically, to be a man. And there's no reason for it. I am so confused. And like I said, my team was gonna come on board with me and talk about all of this stuff, and they had some great points to bring up. I just wanted to get this series started because I've been receiving so many questions, mainly from men, asking how do I deal with certain things, because I talk on the podcast and they're starting to listen. They're starting to understand that I'm, like I said, I'm not anybody special. I'm 49 years old. I work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. And when I'm done with that, I come home and I work on podcasts 20, 25 hours a week because I want to talk to people and help people. And they're starting to catch me in convenience stores and the grocery stores. They're emailing me. There's all kinds of different ways that they're starting to reach out. And one of their biggest questions, which kind of shocked me, to be honest, is how do you deal with depression? And I gotta be honest, I'll be honest, I've been fighting depression probably for the better part of 20 years. It's very, very difficult because it hurts. And as a man, you're not allowed to say that it hurts. You're not supposed to say that it bothers you. But depression is a whole different level. That is like a whole different monster. So on top of, I went through and I admit, I went through and got a divorce. And I'm not saying anything bad against my ex-wife in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to do that because I know I made mistakes on my side in the relationship. So it's not just one-sided to where one person destroyed the marriage. That just doesn't happen. There's always two sides to everything. But depression-wise comes up, and another, I went through that. I went through the loss of my parents, having to take care of their estate. When we went through COVID, I lost my business. I lost my home. I lost my vehicle. Everything. My 401k savings, my regular savings, and I went 80 grand into debt trying to maintain, and the business was going until COVID hit, and then it was all taken away from me. So in the past 5 years, the uphill battle, 5-6 years, that I've had to fight has been some of the worst ones that I've ever had to basically experience. And every time I turn around, it's like something else. The vehicle breaks down, or the house needs something, or my health. And I mean, that's one of the primary reasons why. And if you listen to my other series about my weight loss series, you'll find out that I was over 300 pounds overweight because instead of processing these powerful and strong emotions, I ate my feelings. I'll be very, very honest. There was a reason why I was over 300 pounds overweight because I didn't know how to process them. I can help anybody else out in the world. I can come up with great suggestions to help you, be there for you, listen all day long. I love absolutely listening and helping people as much as I possibly can. But when it comes to helping myself, I'm kind of a lost cause. I'm not gonna deny it. And the primary reason for that is, and I have to admit it, and I know my family, I'm gonna hear it from my family and my co-hosts as soon as I say this, but when it just comes down, I don't really talk to anybody. I don't let really anybody in because we were taught so young. And like I said, as soon as you start walking, you're not allowed to talk to anybody. You can't discuss anything. I mean, if you want to talk about football or basketball or baseball or something cranked up, golf, whatever it is. I mean, you got sports and you've got hunting, you've got all this other stuff. Men are allowed to talk about that. But when it comes down to feelings, it's just like, ooh, that's a taboo. You can't discuss that. I mean, I've had guys make fun of me. They've heard me on my podcast, and they make fun of me, saying, "Here you are talking about your feelings and everything else." What do you? I mean, I'm not even gonna say some of the things that they've called me, because I try to keep the podcast clean, and I know they're joking, but in some respects they're not, because they're just as lost as I am, because it's like, you want to talk to somebody, you need to get this stuff off your chest, but you don't know who to talk to. You don't know where to turn. You don't know who to trust to be able to do this. There's so many bad things there that can happen. And we've, like I said, I mean, I remember, when you're not allowed to show fear, you're not allowed to show pain. I remember walking down the hallway in my elementary school. I was in 4th grade, walking down the classroom, and that's when guys start to realize that, okay, well, I need to puff my chest out. I need to start showing that I'm a man. I'm tough. Nobody can basically hurt me, because it has been drilled into us at that point. So then the testosterone starts kicking in, even though we didn't know what that meant. We didn't understand why we were doing it or nothing there. But I remember, other guys walking down the hallway, and they would slug you as hard as they could in the shoulder, just to see if they could get you to wince in pain, to see if they could get you to crack or show a little bit of weakness, because the moment that you did that, man, they were just like vultures. They were all over you, and they just picked you apart at that point. And going all the way through schools, I mean, when you get your heart broken by, your partner, by the girls and stuff there because they drop you or whatever it is. I mean, we all have relationships. Let's be honest. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's not only the girls breaking hearts, it's guys that break hearts. I know that. I'm not saying it's just one-sided by any way, shape, or form. But one thing that for us is we're supposed to not let it bother us. And I couldn't tell you how many times that I was asked, when I broke up with somebody or they broke up with me. Most of the time they broke up with me is, how you doing? How you feeling? I said, well, I really don't know, because honestly, I didn't know how to process these strong, powerful emotions. And yes, men are strong. There's no doubt about that. We were raised that way. We were raised to be basically like rocks. I mean, let's be honest here. That's just really how it comes down to. So when you were going through all the school, that basically taught you, what you don't show any weakness, don't show fear, don't show pain. And then you get into the workforce, and it's even worse. And like I said, you're out in the workforce, and you rip your arm off at the shoulder, and it's like, oh, just put some mud on it, put some dirt on it there, and just keep working. I mean, you could have one foot in the grave. You could be in the hospital with a heart attack. You can't move or can't breathe. Here's your boss calling and saying, hey, you're going to be in today. You're inconveniencing us. Suck it up, buttercup there, and get your butt into work. And I've had that before, no matter what you do. I've been called on my vacations because it's kind of like, well, you know what? We're shorthanded. You need to come in. In the times that I'm trying to basically be with my family and be with my friends and stuff there and try to recharge a little bit, things like that there just completely destroy men. And then on top of it all, you have all of that stuff, and then you got to put dating on top of it all. You're supposed to find a mate, where I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't go to many bars. I'm allergic to alcohol, so I can't drink. But growing up and stuff there, I spent a lot of time, thanks to, my dad did enjoy having a beer with his friends, and I thought it was cool because I got to go along and I got to play pool. I got to play a lot of pool. I still stink at it. I'm horrible at it, but I enjoyed going. But that was their way of basically talking to each other and working through a few things. But you add dating onto it, and especially if you go into a bar, let's be honest, the men are supposed to make all the first moves. The men are supposed to do all the talking, and 99% of the time, we get told no. We get turned down, we get called nasty names, or, you're a pervert, or you're disgusting, or, you're fat, or something like that there, and you get tore down. So to be able to get through all of that rejection and all that denial, you have to lock yourself up. You have to basically if you had any feelings, you got to lock them away. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in a corner, basically sucking your thumb and not knowing what to do. And that's just not allowed, because it's like, oh, well, see, there you're showing emotion and you're showing pain again. Well, you're not allowed to do it. So you see where I'm going with this? It's kind of like a horrible circle. One thing leads to another that rotates you right back to the beginning again. And it's like we have no outlet. We have no place to go. And then you add all of this toxic masculinity on top of it all, where we're just horrible, horrible people. And I'm completely lost. I'll be honest with you. I mean, like I said, I'm 49 years old. I don't understand any of this, because it comes down to, I have old world beliefs. I mean, I believed in the, and I still do today. I still practice this stuff. I still hold the door open for a lady, but not just a lady, for men. And when I hold them and they walk through, I say, have a good day. I do whatever I can to try to brighten their day a little bit more. But I've had many times where I've had the ladies blow up at me, say, I'm strong enough, I can open my own door. It's not a matter of, I know you are. There's a lot of strong women out there. I'm not arguing that point at all. There's a lot of strong ladies out there. But you have to understand, in the old world school, like what my area is and the way I was raised, you just naturally held a door open for you. You just don't think about it. If you see somebody that's broke down by the side of the road and they're having car problems, you stop and see if you can help them. And I've done that many times. Is it a little bit scarier right now? Yeah, it's because you just never know what you're going to get yourself into. So you got to be a little bit more careful. But there's been times where I've walked through a grocery store or a convenience store, or just any kind of store, and I see somebody struggling to try to get something high off the top shelf, and it's 9 times out of 10 I get yelled at, I get scowls, I get dirty looks of, I can do this, you don't need to do this for me. And it's like, I'm sorry, I was just trying to help. So because you're climbing up the shelving units and trying to get something off the top shelf when I can easily grab it, give it to you, and walk away. I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting to get married or get a date out of this or anything. All I was trying to do is help so you didn't hurt yourself. And I've been ridiculed and scorned for that. If you give a lady a compliment, it would be nice if they would just be appreciative of once and accept it. Because in this day and age, it's kind of like you're just disgusting. Work 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week, providing a good life or the best life that you possibly can for your family, and you used to be loved for it and not hated for it and scorned for it because you're spending too much time away from your home. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to provide a home for you. I am trying to do the best I can because I don't know any other way. This is the only way I know, is to work hard, get to work, do the best that I can, try to get benefits out of it, so that way we've got insurance and other stuff. Anything to try to, make things better for my family. That's why I do it, is to protect them. To make sure that, the kids are taken care of, or whatever it is, so they have all the stuff they need for school. You just don't know. I mean, these old world beliefs are just absolutely in conflict with everything that's going on anymore. And if you're somebody like me that's all I know is old world beliefs, it's kind of, you're kind of like stuck in the middle of the ocean, and you're going, I don't know which way to go. I don't know which way to turn. I don't have any direction anymore, because I used to be able to know that if I worked hard and provided for my family and stuff there, that I would be, a good man. And now it's just like, no, that's not what a good man is. And I'm just confused. I'll be very, very honest. But all that did, honestly, after, unfortunately, I ended up, the marriage didn't work out. And I've been, on my own now for 13 years. Been single for 10 of them. And I get people that ask me all the time, it's like, well, don't you get lonely? Well, yeah, I get lonely. I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm not going to get into a relationship with somebody just to get rid of the lonelies. I want to get into a relationship with someone who actually cares about me, will support my dreams. We can have fun together. We can have long, deep conversations together. They bring, something to the relationship that helps strengthen it. It's so confusing anymore, because basically everything that I was brought up to believe, I was born in 1974. I just dated myself. It's a long time ago. But back in those days, all of these old world beliefs still worked. And we're at a point now where if you listen to the music and you watch the movies and the TV shows and everything else, all of that stuff, especially in the past 10 years, has just went goodbye. And I'm just lost, for a lack of better words. So what that did was kick in horrible amounts of depression. And like I said, I've probably been fighting depression for the better part of 2 decades. And I still to this day work. It doesn't sound like it because I'm always upbeat, and because that's the way I kind of help stave off my own depression, is I'm there for other people. I'm there to help them. And that's what I want to do, because I know this is the pain I've went through. This is the hardships. This is the tough times I went through. And if I can eliminate at least some of that for you out there, then to me it makes it all worth it. And that's why I do it. And that's also the way I was raised. That's some of the beliefs that I have. But when you just get, you go through such a nightmare, and it could be the loss of family members, loss of friends, it could be a divorce, a loss of a job. There's so many things out there, and the first thing people say is, well, just get over it, it's no big deal, move on. Well, for a man, that it kind of demasculates us, because it's kind of like, this is what's expected out of us. We're trying to turn around, we're trying to do the best job that we can, and it's just like it's like it's not enough anymore. It's got people like me really, really confused on, okay, where do I turn next? So when the life events pop up, and they're huge, and we've all, good Lord, we've all been changed thanks to COVID and the nightmare that we went through for the past 3 years with this whole bad thing. I mean, it has really, really changed a lot, and I know depression doesn't run just in men. I know there's plenty of ladies out there. I have friends that are women, and I talk to them, and they're depressed with everything that they're going through. Your finances are stretched so thin they're ready to snap, and in some places they've already snapped because they just can't pay the bills anymore. It's just too much. You have families that are living together when kids used to be able to move out at the age of 18, and they can't do it anymore. Heck, you can't even move out when you're 30 because rent is $2,000 a month. And I mean, you go to the grocery store, and what used to buy, you could spend $100 and fill your entire cart up and more for $100. I went to the grocery store this past weekend, and I walked out with 7 bags and $220 worth of food, and it's like, holy smokes, what just happened? And you're to a point where I know there's so many people that are working 2 and 3 jobs just to try to make ends meet, and it's just like, okay, what is going on? And I know my friends and family, and like I said, people are writing into me. They're saying, we don't know what to turn. Can you help us? Can you give us an idea? And that's what I'm trying to do with these podcasts, is trying to help. Even if I can take a little bit of stress off of you to try to make it through another day, that's what I'm trying to do. But one thing that is constantly overlooked is depression in men. Mainly because, like I said, we're not allowed to talk it. Ladies, at least they're smart enough to go talk to somebody and get some help. We are stubborn. There's no doubt about it, because that's the way we were taught to be. We were taught to just basically shut it up, lock it away, and be done. So, and the worst part is, most of the time, the biggest telltale sign for men when they're depressed is anger, because they just have like bouts of anger, and they just snap at the smallest things. It's because the pressure is so intense on them anymore that it doesn't take much to push them over the edge, and people automatically assume, well, he's nothing but a big old jerk. And nothing could be further. I mean, granted, I know a few guys out there, and yes, they are jerks. Not arguing that point. But when you're trying to diagnose and see if your man is depressed, I mean, I have a bunch of signs here and stuff here. I did some research on it here before I started out the podcast. And there's a lot of things that you can look for to see if they are. But the hardest part is just getting them to talk and to open up about it. Now, if you factor in, I'm not using excuses or anything like that there, but you have a man and the way we were raised, and then you have somebody like me that's a Taurus, that is just naturally stubborn and closed off, and then on top of that, an introvert. You have 3 things that is all saying you just suck it up and you move on. You don't talk about it, you don't admit it, you don't acknowledge it, you don't anything. You compartmentalize the pain, the hurt, the stress, the depression, you lock it away, and you're just done. And like I said, that after a while turns into poison. That's just really what it comes down to, because it just starts to eat away at you. And I know it was affecting my health by not processing these feelings. And like I said, I'm not the best at them yet. I'm still trying to learn how to process these feelings. But it doesn't help when our culture is constantly putting more and more pressure on us guys to do more, be more, provide more. And then when we do that, then we get told that, well, that's wrong. We don't want you doing that. We want you to have, more feelings. You need to talk about it there. You need to be home more. You need to, you got to, I guess, basically start finding a job where you're making $2,000 an hour. So, you can work for, one day and you got the whole month paid for. I haven't found that job yet, but it sure would be nice. But I've always come home at night. I've always taken care of my son. I've always been there for him. I made all of his school stuff, all the things that he was into. And let me tell you, that boy was into everything. And I made them all. I made all the parent-teacher conferences. I mean, to me, that was some of the greatest moments of my life, especially when he was, playing in band, and I got to hear him play and stuff. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It helped with the depression. It helped because I kind of dove into and watched him and learned about my son, and it helped me with my own depression. It helped me get through, basically another day of, okay, what else is this life going to throw at me? Because it gets to be so much after a while. And like I said, guys, I know you're strong. I work with tons and tons of guys every day, and they all walk around and they all have a chip on their shoulder saying that they're tough and they're manly and nothing bothers them. Well, and I know, and they'll never admit it. That's just what you do. You just don't admit it. You don't say anything about it. But I know deep down inside they're hurting, they're depressed, they're beaten up, they feel like there's just nothing to live for anymore, and I can hear it in the way they talk to me. They may joke a certain way, or they'll talk about something that they're going through, and I can pick up on the small little keys of everything that they're going through. And I just want to say it's okay to talk about it, and I do have some people that come up, they'll catch me in the parking lot after work, or they'll, on my lunch break, they'll come up and talk to me because they just feel comfortable talking to me. And I always take the time. I never say no to somebody that needs help. I do everything that I can. I'm not the best at it. I don't have this all figured out. And like I told you, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. I have no piece of paper on the wall saying I went to 4 or 8 years of school and I'm smart and I know what this is. All the information that I'm bringing is I do research and I've learned from the school of hard knocks. That's what it really all comes down to. And all I want to do is try to find a way to get men to open up a little bit more. I wish I could figure out a place to talk, set up something to help men out so they felt like, and you don't always have to talk about the bad emotions. You can talk about the good stuff too. I mean, that's the neat part, is not everything has to be bad. You need to celebrate your wins. You need to celebrate, if you got a promotion at work, or you saved some money here, or you paid off a vehicle, or now you own your home, or you paid off a credit card. Whatever it is, you needed to be able to talk about that. And that's the neat stuff. And I keep hoping that people will start sharing these things on my Facebook page, because I want to be able to say, congratulations, I'm proud of you, you're amazing. That takes a lot of work, takes a lot of commitment, and I just want to say thank you, and I just want you to know you're not alone walking this road. So what I wanted to do is, part of this podcast is I wanted to talk about some of the common signs of depression in men, because it's very, very easily missed. Because like I said, we keep it all locked up, and most of the time it comes out in like bursts of anger. And I've caught myself doing the exact same thing, where I can just drop something on the floor, and all of a sudden I'm ripping the window out of the house there and throwing it across the yard, because it's just like, it's kind of like overkill. I mean, well, somebody's stressed out a little bit. But most of the time, it's just having a short temper could also do it. I mean, you're quick to irritability. It's just like misplaced anger, and you just don't know why. But basically, what your body is trying to find an outlet for it, because you keep it so locked up and you keep it all locked away that it can't go anywhere. It's just like sitting inside you and turning into poison, and it's just eating you up inside. So, if you see your man doing that could be one way of looking at it. Feeling of hopelessness, or, just emptiness. Depression can just eat everything just right out of you. You can have just an overwhelming sadness constantly. And honestly, I fight that constantly, because I'm always what-ifing everything. I'm always trying to plan ahead, trying to plan, okay, what happens if this happens? Or what happens if I need to fix this? Or, there's so many different things that you have to build in for. And that's what us men are supposed to do. We're supposed to think of all the what-ifs that pop up to protect our family, to protect ourselves. And after a while, it's kind of like right now, like I said, with the old world beliefs, it's kind of like I don't know where to turn anymore, because everything that I used to be able to fall back on, it's kind of like it's gone. I don't know where to turn anymore. So I keep trying to figure out, okay, what is a new way of basically taking the old world beliefs and trying to find a way to get them to, sync up with the new world beliefs. It's very hard. I don't have it figured out yet, but I'm slowly learning it. Another thing that's normal common signs of depression in men is they either sleep too much or they sleep too little. And I have to admit, I haven't slept in years. 3-4 hours a night, maybe. Some nights I get maybe an hour or two just because I'm so stressed about everything. I've got things that are bothering me. My mind just never shuts down. And just like last night, I think I got 3 hours of sleep at best. And it's just because I'm constantly stressed out about everything, which that, because like, okay, well, what happens if this breaks down, or what happens if that breaks down, or what happens if somebody says this, or somebody runs into my truck, or, you start stressing out about everything. It's like, how am I going to pay for this? It's like, I'm already stressed out as is. My budget is there's nothing left of it. It's not like I'm putting tons of money into my 401k or savings, because it's kind of like, I need it all. Like I said, I spent $220 at the grocery store and I had 7 bags, and it's like, and that was buying stuff on sale. I didn't go in and buy top name. That was buying all just the bottom line merchandise. There was nothing fancy about it. So you stress out about that. So to me, I get too little of sleep. And I know that most men that I talk to, that's common. And most of us don't oversleep. Most of us are all undersleeping because you lay there in bed wondering, okay, well, I gotta plan ahead for this or plan ahead for that. Then that leads into not having enough energy to get through the next day. And it's like, okay, well, then you can't concentrate on your job. You can't do your job right. You're missing the little signs, or something's going to take longer because you should have thought ahead and saw this coming. It's really, really hard. One thing that I also learned that happens to me when I get really, really down is I love going for drives in the hills. That's my recharge time. I'm an introvert. I need time alone, and I've got to get away. And my getting away is going up to a lake, or sitting on a bluff and looking out over, a valley, or just taking a drive and singing along horribly to music. I'm sure my truck just cringes as soon as I turn the music up. But I get to a point with my depression, I don't even want to do that anymore, because it's kind of like, why? Because it's not going to do any good. It used to do good. It used to help, and it's kind of like, it really doesn't really help anymore. And I've had some friends with depression and stuff, they turn to drinking too much, or drugs, or gambling, or God forbid, naughty sex stuff. I mean, that's just because you're looking, when you're depressed, a lot of times you're looking for a connection, and you don't have it. You're just looking for basically any ways to numb your body. I mean, let's be honest, because you're so tired of hurting, you're so tired of being depressed, you just want those feelings to go away. And if you don't talk about them, they're not going to go away, unfortunately. And I'll be honest, I'm still working on that myself. I don't have this all figured out, but these are the things that I do know, and these are the things that I do try to basically help out with a little bit there. That's why I started to lose weight. I had to change my life because it was just like, okay, I can't keep living this way, because my health just couldn't handle it anymore, and I wanted to be there for my son, and I wanted to be there for my family. But a lot of people they'll eat their feelings, and I can't blame them. I did that for 30 years. I know exactly what they mean. So by me turning around my life and trying to figure this out, and I don't have it all figured out yet. Like I keep telling you, I don't. I'm a work in progress myself, guys. Still trying to figure this out. And the worst one there, and I've been down this road before, is suicidal thoughts. They creep in so subtly, and they're just like all of a sudden there. It's kind of like, what the heck, I'll just run my truck into a bridge at 90 mile an hour and just be done with this nightmare, because I no matter what I do, it's it's bad. I don't have an answer. Every time I turn around, somebody's telling me to suck it up, or just get over it, or be a man and man up, or and it's like, there's only so many times you can do that. Let's be honest. There's only so much stuff that you can cram into a box and quickly lock up the top on it and stuff. Sooner or later, that box gets so full you can't get the lid back on it anymore. And that's when all of these basically signs start taking over, and it's like, I don't know what else to do anymore. Okay, this is what I know, this is what I've done, this has worked in the past, and now it's not working anymore. It just kind of just leaves you hanging out there, so you don't you just don't know where to turn. So what I would try to do is I went to a website called helpguide.org, and I wanted to find some ways to let you know these are some of the things that you can do to try to fight that depression and allow you to get to talking. And one is seek social support. Basically, you can use, your friends, family members, you can talk to your pastor, you can talk to just a religious official, whatever it is. And then if you want to, talk to a professional therapist. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not being any less macho by not, basically sucking it up. You're asking for help. You know how much strength and how strong you have to be to ask for help, especially a man. Somebody like me, I never ask for help, and I admit that. And for me to be able to go and talk to somebody and ask for help, that is incredible strength. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You are being so incredibly strong with this. You have no idea. So don't think that you're any less of a man by asking for help and talking to somebody. It's huge. Just don't. There's no reason that you have to divulge it to everybody if you want to keep it quiet, but just know that you need to find somebody there that you can talk to and discuss what's on your mind, what's bothering you. Maybe they've got an idea to help you, or maybe they've got an idea to take some stress off of you. That's what you want to do. And that's what I do from time to time. I'm not the best at it, I admit it. And I'm sure my family and friends that are out there listening to this podcast are screaming into their speakers saying, Sean, you can do a better job than this. We know you can. You need to talk to us. And I freely admit, I need to do more talking. I need to be more open. No arguments there. And I'm working on trying to be better at it. And in the past year and a half with my weight loss journey, I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm gaining ground, and I got to tell you guys, it makes a huge difference by being able to feel comfortable to find somebody to talk to and get them out. Because in the beginning, you're going to start talking, and you probably won't be able to quit. And it doesn't have to be all negative stuff. It can be positive stuff. Be proud of stuff that you've done, how far you've come, and everything there. It doesn't always have to be negative, because talking about the good stuff can make a huge difference too, because it tells you this is why you're doing it. You're doing it for all the right reasons. Be proud of yourself. That's amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. Tip 2 is support your health. And like I said, this is why I switched and I'm losing weight. I'm 220 pounds down, 20 months into my weight loss journey. And I had to basically figure out how to take care of my body, take care of my health. So, and like I said, and some of these things that I do, they have a list here, and I'm just gonna read them. And honestly, and they call it a wellness toolbox to deal with depression. So when you need to basically stave off that depression, these are some of the things you do. And I do these things, and honestly, gentlemen, these help. Spend some time in nature is one of them. And like I said, I'm always talking about going up in the hills. Go, if you want to, go fishing, go hunting, go hiking, go skiing, whatever it is. Do something in nature, because you'd be surprised on how well that'll recharge your batteries. Read a good book. I know not a lot of us read, and me, I'm a self-published author. I have 4 books out there that I've published, and I've written 3 more. And you'd be surprised that even if you started a journal, if you just started reading or writing down your feelings, and you don't have to share them with anybody, and I recommend you don't, because I started a journal, and then I went back and read it 5 years later after I stopped doing it, and I terrified myself by what I wrote into that journal. It was like that, it was so dark. I love scary movies. I love them to no end. And what I wrote in that journal terrified me more than any scary movie that ever was. I didn't realize how close I was to jumping off the cliff and committing suicide for a second time. I tried the first time, something, stopped the vehicle from running into the bridge. I'll be honest there. And so I'm sure I'm not going to get lucky a second time. So read a good book or write in a journal. It's amazing how much that will help you. Watch a funny movie or a TV show. It's amazing how when you laugh, how that staves off depression, because it's a perfect way of getting rid of it. Take a long hot shower. Those are excellent. Those always help there. Play with a pet. Like I said, I'm always talking about Willow. Willow literally is laying right beside my chair as I'm talking to you guys. And now she's looking at me because I said her name, but play with a pet. It's amazing how they're wonderful little stress relievers. They're incredible, and they don't care. They just want to spend time with you. So spend time with them, because they have short little lifespans. Make the most of that time. Talk to friends and family face to face. Get away from the computers, get away from texting, get away from the phones, and talk to somebody face to face once. We went through COVID. I would have thought people would have been more open to sitting down in a restaurant or go to a park, or like me, I like going up the hills and sitting on the tailgate and just listening to nature and talking to somebody. You'd be surprised at how much that will help. I mean, I feel so much better when I get to do that. It's like incredible. Listen to music. Oh my goodness. My music runs 20 hours a day. I would be so lost without Pandora. I'm not going to lie, because I get my money's worth. I pay for the premium one for $10 a month. And let me tell you, I get my money's worth. And the right song at the right time, you'd be surprised at how far that will pull you through and make you feel better. And sometimes you're sitting around, and me, as long as there's nobody around, I'll dance. If somebody's around, not a chance in the world. and when I'm up in the hills, I'll roll all the windows down, let the air flow through, and I'll sing along. And I have a horrible singing voice. I can talk, but my singing voice has a lot to be desired. Let's be honest about it. Another thing is tip 3 that they recommend: exercise for greater mental health and greater physical health. It does help, and that kind of goes hand in hand with eating better, doing more, which they basically eat a healthy diet to improve in how you feel. So that all goes together: exercise and eat well. And I know everybody gets tired of hearing that, and it's so much easier just to go through a drive-thru and pick up a bunch of double cheeseburgers and fries. But sooner or later that catches up with you as well. And that's what I'm trying to do with my weight loss journey myself, is make myself better. And I have found it has helped with the depression some. I still get migraines, but I don't get as much migraines either, and as anywhere near. I mean, most of my migraines, probably 75% of them went away. So by getting your weight down, by eating better, all of that stuff there, exercising, it doesn't have to be a great amount of exercise. Heck, you can just walk around the neighborhood, just anything to out and tootle around, and then you're around nature again. I mean, in a limited basis if you live in town, but you're still outside bebopping around, and that's going to be great for you. I mean, it helps out. I know that when I get this way, that's the first thing I do is I head for the hills, just to try to get away from everything, and I'll put my feet in a little creek and feel the water just pass by, or sit out in the middle of a field there and just take my shoes and socks off and just feel the grass underneath your toes, or I walked in mud. You'd be surprised. That feels good too. So just anything there to commune with nature, it's wonderful. Another thing that they talk about is challenge negative thinking. Don't be too hard on yourself. And I already heard my family screaming at me for this one here, because I'm always negative self-talking, and I've gotten better about it, but I have a long ways to go. I'm not going to lie about it, because that's the first thing I do is cuss and swear when I do something at myself, because you can be better, you can do better, there's more expected out of you, you got to do better, and it's just okay, yes, I know, but I also at times need to give myself a break, and you need to give yourself a break, because there's only so much you can do, there's only so much you can handle. So stop the all or nothing thinking. There's no black and white. I mean, it's either you're perfect or you're not. You can't. There's an in-between. There's a happy medium in there, and you need to, find that happy medium, so that way you're not so hard on yourself. But trying to come up and stopping the negative self-talk, it's tough for me. And for me, it's very, very difficult, but I'm working on it. I'm not basically getting, too far, but I'd have to say I probably stopped half, maybe a little bit more of the negative self-talk and everything for me, and it has made a difference. I'm a little more optimistic. I can see things a little bit better. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel with my weight loss journey. I still have a ways to go, but I know that I'm going to get there, and I there's not a doubt in my mind that I'm not looking to have six-pack abs, big arms, and I'm not 18 or 20 anymore. Let's be honest, when you're loaded full of testosterone and your body's doesn't hurt, and because I've been through 2 hernias and reconstructive back surgery, I am not going to be a power lifter anytime soon. My days are over. I just want to be able to go to work, come home, and not hurt so bad, and feel better, and eat some good food. And to me, that helps out. That's helped me so much through my journey and stuff. But when all's said and done, keep in mind, gentlemen, and I know you're going to cringe and you're not going to like what I got to say, but professional treatment for depression, There's nothing wrong with it. Remember, to me, you are extremely strong. We have been trained, we have been taught, it's ingrained into our head not to ask for help, not to ask, especially for a professional, because it's seen as weak. You are not weak. I can't stress that enough. You are not weak by asking for help. There's nothing wrong with it because it's going to help you. You're going to be better for your kids, for your partner, for your job, everything there, because you're going to be able to get that negative self-talk, the poison, everything that's flowing through you, you're going to get that out of your system, and it's going to help you. You'd be surprised at how much more you can handle and how much more you can do when you start venting that stuff out of your body. Things will get so much easier and so much better for you. So just don't think you're weak for seeking out help. You're not at all. To me, you're incredible. You're Superman for being able to do that. So don't think anything less of it in any way, shape, or form. So, but just to let you guys know, remember, even though that everything that I've talked about in this podcast today, in this brand new podcast, this new series, I'm still a work in progress myself, and I am still trying to figure out this, as I'm going through as well. I am trying to navigate the waters of my mental and emotional issues that I have, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm getting better at it. I'm not perfect at it. So just know, I'm just there's nothing special about me. Like I said, I've learned everything through the School of Hard Knocks. I don't have a piece of paper on the wall saying I'm important or anything like that there. So if you go and get professional treatment, that's fantastic. That's why those people went to school. They're brilliant. Let them help you and let them basically open up things there so you can enjoy another day, so you can make it through another week and enjoy the little things in life. So that way, when you do go play golf or you go fishing or you go for a bike ride or you go hiking, you'll enjoy those activities so much more than being so stressed out that you just can't find joy in anything. So just remember, it's not okay to just not get over it. I mean, when you break it down, we've been told that enough. Just get over it. It's okay to not just get over it. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to figure out, okay, we need to approach this a little bit differently. And once you start going down that road and you start getting help and you start doing things a little bit differently, whether it's, you eat differently or you exercise more or you're out with nature or whatever it is, you'll be surprised at how much that is going to help you. And if there's anything that I can do, email me at seangmorris@gmail.com. I would be happy to try to help you. I don't have all the answers, but if there is an answer that I have, I want to be able to try to help you. Maybe there's a different way of looking at something that will help you. That's all I can think of. And people are talking to me. People are asking me on how I do certain things. I'll tell you how I do it. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you or be the best for you, but maybe there's something in there that I've went through or the way that I did it. Maybe you can take that and maybe put your own twist on it and make it work for you. That's all I can hope for. Remember to give yourself a break. Be easy on yourself once in a while. The world is destroying us men, so don't jump on that bandwagon as well. This whole podcast is designed to try to take a little bit of stress off you and to let you know you're not out there alone. You're not by yourself. We're all in this together, and we're trying to figure this out together. So like I said, if you need to talk about something, if you want to post something on my Facebook page saying this is what I accomplished, I'm so proud of this, please do. I mean, if you paid off your car or you redid your muscle car or whatever you're proud of and we're happy for, you're more than welcome to put it on my Facebook page, and I watch that like a hawk because I want to make sure that I respond right away to anybody that posts stuff. And I have 2 other people that help me keep an eye on things, so we're doing our very best to make sure that we catch everything as it comes across. So I'm looking at the time and it's like, holy smokes, I didn't realize I'm over. It's like, holy cow. Okay, well, as closing out of the show here and stuff here, we're done. I'm gonna do this series is no different than all my other series. It's gonna end on the dad joke of the day, and I thought this was pretty cool because it reminded me, and my son's gonna get mad at me for this one here because he knows where I'm going with this joke, but I can't wait to see his face when he gets home after hearing this. But here's the dad joke of the day. Did you hear about the teenager who failed his driving test? He thought it was a crash course. I know I'm going to catch a lot of guff from Alex for this one, but I love it. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you guys there tuning in. Make sure you tell everybody about the podcast. I'm going to try to help as many as I can. And as always, stay strong and honorable, my friends.